We recently just met, so we're basically what we want to do with this interview. And I reinstate what I was saying before is that I'm trying to get, um, again, it's not your average people because I don't know like if average sounds, it doesn't sound like it's a great thing, average. But what I'm saying is like people that have regular jobs that are doing these races. Not everybody's sponsor athletes, which actually in the ultra world, there's not a lot of them, man. People know about Killian and people like that, but that's not the many of them to begin with. So let's just start up by again your name. I just said Jamie, but your full name, where you grew up, and where you currently live. And I'll just double check, make sure everything is working. Go ahead.
No, no, it's all good, Victor. No, I mean, my name's Jimmy Ortega. I grew up, born and raised in LA. So, it's been home for me for a long time. And we'll talk more about other places I lived in the past. But yeah, that's what I call home. And that's really where a lot of my running began. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk about my ultra journey, especially with you
And
today.
and and the way we even connected or how he signed up, one thing that I say all the time is that I mean, I don't know. I've been doing this thing for 11 years, the trail races for 8. And for the most part, everyone that shows up to my races, I have, as far as Canada, I think this year we had some people from England, which is pretty freaking amazing that people come out of stay out of the country. So, but the people that I get out of Moreno Valley, Paris, is really rare. So I did see someone sign up for Moreno Valley. I was like, what the hell? I would think I would know anyone running around here. So, but that was Jimmy. And not only that, but how long ahead did you sign up? It was pretty close to the race, right? It wasn't that like far from the race.
Yeah, so I signed up on the 12th. So,
So 2 weeks.
12 October. It's pretty interesting. So I was kind of like, man, let's see if I can finish one more race before the year ends. Because I was looking at my ultra sign up and I'm like, man, I haven't done anything else since obviously Badwater, right? And then I saw your race. And I was like, oh, it's local. It's right here. It's in my backyard. Like I never thought you would have a race here in Lake Paris, and that just like threw me off. And then it had ended. The sign up ended
Right, right.
that day, right? So I contacted you and I told you, hey man, do you have an open spot for the 100 miler? And then obviously, right from there, you reached out to me really quick, and I was like, oh wow, that's fast. And then the better part of that was like I even told you like I would have done the 200, but like man, that's just like not in my budget right now. And
And
that was just interesting seeing how you like were
and
like,
I
oh,
told
you
them we'll make it work. We tend to do that. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a business. But for me, for this initial one, I have no clue like who's even gonna sign up. Like, and I tell you that because you're new to discovering our races, right? But for a long time, in our third year of the 100 miler and the Dia de los Muertos, the finishing ratio is not even 50%. So when you're thinking of 100 miles, that are people struggling to even finish 100, like who's going to sign up to do 200? So when we had, including him, it was 9 of them. I was just like, if anybody's willing to do it, just hit me up. We'll figure it out. And then he signed up 2 weeks before. So we have displayed a bunch of medals that he has, like buckles. Like when you think of the 200 milers, he's done them pretty much all of them. But before, I know in these interviews, because they're live and they're not scripted, we can kind of like go back and forth between different things, and you can say all over the place, but not necessarily. It's more like my own curiosity to know more about him. So before we even go into detail on those races and even your experience with us, because there's a lot of things that I want to ask him about my own race, including how the hell did he show up late to the race. Um, Before that, we're gonna go back a little bit of the beginning of your running. Like when was your first race, and what kind of got you into it? What sparked your interest in running?
So I started running in college, so that trips people out. So obviously, this is the first time I'm interviewing anyone, right? Being interviewed by someone. But when people ask me out there, I always tell them like, man, no, I never ran in high school. I was never in track and field. I wasn't any of that stuff. I just one day I was in college and I was stressed out. All my friends were dropping out, and I remember someone telling me I always forget who, but whoever it was at the time, they're just like, you might want to pick like a sport or a hobby, man. You're like you're gaining weight, and like I never thought about that, and then I just decided to run. So actually, my home for running is actually a Southgate Park, uh, and I always tell people, man, I just started 1 mile a day, man, and that was my journey. So ever since that, then I just started like anybody else would, right? You start figuring out by process of whether you're doing it right or wrong. You're just out there running, and yeah, man, I started signing up for 5Ks, 10Ks, half
Do you
marathons.
remember what was your first 5K or your first race?
So my first 5K. So at the time, I was working for a Hispanic retailer out in LA, Norgate Markets.
Okay.
They would host a lot of 5Ks. So I just started running 5Ks with them. So I believe one of the first ones was like the Bell 5K. Um, I did the Anaheim 5K as well. But my first mission or first once I realized I wanted to keep running, yeah, was the LA Marathon.
The LA Marathon. And
Yeah,
before we got on camera, we did eat. Shout out to Chris. We still have some leftovers from Thanksgiving. So we just
good
had some
stuff.
of we just had some of the food. And we were talking about a little bit back, but I was like, all right, let's save a little bit of that. He said the LA Marathon. How many LA marathons have you done? So obviously you did all those 5Ks, and then you was the LA Marathon your first biggest distance, longest distance?
Yeah, so prior to getting into the ultra world, I started with the LA Marathon, which was the first marathon I did. Um, and prior to that, I was also doing the Long Beach Marathon, the San Diego,
To all that
the
road.
the Rock and Roll. Yeah, so I was just doing like the local marathons like for like 2 3 years, and then I just got bored. I guess every runner at some point, and we can all like attest to it. We figure out like, all right, where am I? If I keep doing these things and I don't necessarily enjoy them anymore, like what's the next challenge? And I remember just one day, and this is where I'll touch bases on how I got into the ultra world. Uh, Griffith Park is my second home, so I love training there. I, I mean,
There's a lot of races there.
a lot of people, exactly right.
Yeah.
So actually, uh, one of the first ones there was the Griffith Park 50K. So that was my first anything right 30 miler, which is obviously anything bigger than a marathon, right? It's considered an ultra in a sense, or an ultra marathon, right? So that was my first time. That's when I realized, oh wow, this is super cool, man. Like it's a different strategy, but at the end of the day, like it's still like
Yeah, yeah.
challenges you in ways that you'll never get that out of a marathon. So yeah, so that was actually the first.
The first one.
Yeah,
But now, for this upcoming year, you are gonna do the LA Marathon again because how many have you done now?
yeah. So I did an oath to myself. People that know me, that I'm very big on like keeping my word when it comes to like any challenges I do. So this will be my 12th year in a row. So I'm technically already in on the path to becoming one of the legacy runners
Legacy runs.
in
How
the
many do they
future.
have to do for that?
I'm pretty sure you got to do it until like the way I see it is like
No, but for them to consider legacy runners, how
I
many you have
believe
to
it's
do?
like 20 years.
Oh shit!
Um, but like
But you
right,
done 12 in a row without skipping one year?
this will be my 12th without skipping.
Oh shit! Nice.
So yeah, that's so I got my 10th year sweater, legacy runner sweater. So pretty proud of that.
And it's interesting because I would have not imagined that because I think most of my friends, including myself, um, I went and did a bunch of sparring races and stuff like that, and a bunch of ultra sparring races, which is a 50K with obstacles. But at one point, I had never done an actual marathon. But I went in and Google hardest marathons in the U.S. and I found the Big Sur Trail Marathon. But we're talking about trail, and I was sharing with him when he told me about the LA Marathon stuff is how basically I was gifted a bib to just do it after I had just ran a marathon at the lake on my own on Saturday. So I'm always kind of been like, um, not at all a road runner. So it's interesting, because I'm interested in knowing more about him on this crazy 100, 200 milers. But actually, his beginning and still his one of his main things is the LA Marathon, which is road. So that just tells you that you can't be, you don't have to be limited to one specific thing.
No, yeah, and this is what I tell people all the time. A marathon, for whatever people assume, is still pretty challenging. It's a different pace, it's a different strategy. I mean, it's easy to like burn out, after mile 21. It's easy to, just you can start cramping. That's the only time when I feel like, oh damn, I'm about to cramp. Other than that, I mean, in the ultra world, I mean, as long as you strategize and you keep your nutrition on point, you can avoid all that stuff. But for a marathon, man, like it's just constantly just staying on top of nutrition mile by mile. So yeah, at the end of the day, I still think marathons are challenging, and that's why I keep doing it. Just to keep myself sharp.
Yeah, I mean you're running at a different. You're running at a faster pace. Your cadence, the way you're running, is repetitive. It's the same way. There's no walking. I mean, people will probably still walk, but for the most part, you're moving the same way for whatever it is. If you're fast, 3.5 hours or something. If you're slow, even slower people, they're still knocking it out like in 5 hours. You're not out there for days, so it's just different. So a little recap in the beginning. So it was like you talked about weight loss or getting into it. People joke around, like you see memes on about ultras, and they say if you hate yourself, then you're gonna fit in right in hell. So, cause I guess they assume for people to be doing this kind of shit, you have to be either battling some demons or why going into ultra. So from the LA Marathon, and you talked about you were gaining weight. Was there anything else besides the personal challenge why you decided to go farther than a marathon and let's say your first 100 mile, let's say? What was the reason?
Oh, I'll twist it on you right there. So actually, so I went from 100K. I actually went from 100K to 200s.
So you did 100K and then you went to what was the first 200 mile?
So my first 200 miler was a Bigfoot 200.
Okay.
That was 2021. Zero experience about that world. I just signed up. I just, and just to go back before I begin on that, uh, the reason why I challenged myself to do a 200 miler is because I had actually my first 100K was actually in Lake Tahoe, the Lake Tahoe
Mm-hmm.
100K, which obviously
Mm-hmm.
they do the Tahoe 200. And I still remember that day, man. To this day, like I was running the 100K, and then you know how they put they'll like kind of like in your race, right? You
Yeah.
go left if you're running the 10. If you're doing the 10-mile lap,
Oh,
go
okay. The
left.
signs.
If you're on the 20-mile lap, go right. And then I got to a point in the Tahoe 100K, and it said go left if you're doing the 200 miler. And I was like, who's doing 200 miles out here? Like it's already hard enough to just run 100K,
Yeah, you
right?
think 100K is crazy, and
Yeah, I
now
was
you're
like,
like,
what? Wait, who's out here doing this? So that just threw me off. I was like, okay, so this is interesting. I was like, at that point, I was like, man, I ain't shit. Like, I'm here thinking like 100K. That's pretty, pretty amazing. So that year, that year, I promised myself, right, I'll do a 200 miler next. I still wasn't too fond about 100s. I mean, at that point, I didn't even know there was 100 milers. That's how naive I was still in the running world. But that race, I came in seventh.
holy shit.
So it was pretty cool. I realized like, oh man, I got potential here. Not to win them, but just to like, I was like, all right, I know I can handle the sport. I already suffered through 12 hours or whatever. So I believe it was less than that. But just knowing that I can do something like that, I was like, how bad can 200 be, right? And then from there, I just jumped right to the 200s, man, which is interesting, right? Like I mentioned, Bigfoot 200, 2021, man. Like everybody else, man, you're out there. I was going through some deep stuff at the time, Um,
Breakup.
yeah, exactly, man. I was going through a pretty it was a pretty hard breakup because I was trying to still save that relationship during that
During
race,
that
man.
time.
That race she was supposed to go, man.
Oh man.
So yeah, it was kind of interesting. But even through all that, man, that race was very special because even though I lost something at that time in my life, I actually gained more. Like I look back and I gained a best friend. I gained another friend from Sweden who I ended up who we still stay in touch. Who he has a lot to do with these um, buckles as well. So it's just I guess what I can say is like you say it's a community. This is how I met you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like as long as we all keep pushing through those races, man, you end up finding amazing people out there, man. So
And that's we have a group. Some we're in this group together, and a lot of times the memes and the jokes are about like people. Or there's a lot of gym jokes too, where like the next bro was built on a breakup because that's and for many of us, that's actually how my whole thing started myself too, from a relationship ending, and for me, I have kids involved, and it really like it was one of the darkest periods of my time, and that's exactly the same thing. You could either use those challenges, and it's not even a joke. Like you can literally lose your life over something like that if you get really deep into your depression or whatever challenge you have, or you can take that and do something with it, and from there on, um, it grew into what it is, Machete Madness. So when he says that, I mean, I can relate to that. Um, so it's pretty amazing. So now you do your first 200. And when did you do your next one?
so I did that too.
This is a live video, bro. Now we have interruptions. Over there, baby. Close the door, baby.
Yeah, so that 200 miler, man, 2021. I was not like I was one of the I was not expected to finish that race. You know, I went very unprepared. I didn't have anything. My gear was garbage. Like, I did not know what I was doing. But the cool thing was just people out there helping me, man, throughout that journey, man. So after getting that done with the help of David, shout out to David Aguayo. He's out there hearing me. You know, he's still a true friend to this day, man. And just people on those aid stations, man. I'm like, all right, man, let's go for that triple crown, right?
And what was it that was for that particular race? You have the buckle for that one here?
Yeah, I got all three of them here.
I think what
Uh,
we can do, grab that buckle and then you tell us a little bit
yeah,
about that one. So
so
then now we're talking about this one, right?
Yeah, so Bigfoot 200 by far, I think it's like the most.
Let me see. Let me see
Yeah,
if the camera can picture.
yeah, check it out, man.
So he's gonna share with us about Bigfoot, and it is like a, what do you call this thing?
Oh yeah,
The Bigfoot.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
Bigfoot
the
right
Bigfoot.
there.
The,
Yeah,
the freaking also, I don't know what it is.
yeah,
So that he's gonna share about this one. Go ahead.
yeah. So Bigfoot. So I have two of these, right?
Okay.
It's don't. I love that race, man. I want to go back. It's probably one of the hardest of all three races.
It's also in Tahoe.
Now this one's in Oregon, Washington.
So Bigfoot is in Oregon.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
yeah.
Okay.
So you start Mount St. Helen, and you make all your way out to the close to the, all the way up north to Washington. Um, Great scenery, man. Great scenery.
Yeah, Oregon is beautiful though.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it a great race. Is like it's not, it's just endless, man. But yeah, I learned all the mistakes I learned in that race, man. Shaped me for Triple Crown, right? So that
What were those mistakes, if you recall?
yeah,
Some
just
of the things.
so I started the race with a sweater on. It was hot. I just thought it was cold. Like in my mind, I didn't check weather. I didn't check forecast. I remember seeing an email and just saying like, "Oh, it might be cold out here at night." So I'm thinking it's gonna be cold throughout the whole day. Big mistake, man. Uh, didn't take enough gels. I didn't really use the drop bags. So a lot of people came through and helped me out, man. Like, they'll lend me, like my buddy he lend me one of his shirts. He actually lent me a shirt from his Western States
Okay.
because he had finished Western States like I think a year or two before. Like he subbed it, man. Amazing, like under 24 hours, right? And I'm wearing their shirt I never earned, right? And like no, he just because of him I was able to learn a lot. We actually, stick through it. He ended up dropping in that race because he got a little he got sick. He got some food poisoning, but I still kept going, man. I finished, man. It was just an interesting. I guess when you really get uncomfortable and you really realize, oh damn, man, like you took on this challenge that you were very unprepared for and you finish it, like it just kind of opens the world, man.
Well, you did say you learned from it, but I don't know. It makes me think that
I
I don't know.
don't,
I
man.
don't know if you have, man, because once we get to my race, I don't know. It sounds like a movie. So okay, so from that on, what's the next one on the from those buckles that you have right there?
Yeah, so we'll talk about Triple Crown because I think that was really cool. So at 2022, man, I was going to USC.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, my company sponsored my education, right? Thankfully, and wasn't preparing again, but I already had signed up, right? I was like, I had to do it, right? So as soon as the program ended, Tahoe 200, right? Um, Again, my buddy went out there and supported me. I took one of my siblings, and again, man, just got it done. It was I think there was a fire that year, so it wasn't it still wasn't full around the lake, right? So it was you run 100 miles and you come back, right? So I mean, hot year, but strong-minded. I had trained heavily in Griffith Park, and the way I train is pretty interesting. So I do train my minimum run at Griffith Park is about 15 miles, and I do it without food and just with water fountains there. Like the way I train is I kind of like do torture myself because that way like at least I know like if I'm out there running any race, like for example you're racing, we'll talk about that, is like I want to get so uncomfortable, right? Because if anything can happen out there and I'm unprepared, I don't want to let that be the reason why I don't finish a race, right? So that's a strategy I don't recommend for a lot of people that are learning the game, right? Or learning how to run ultras. But I mean, like you said, man, sometimes it's not as simple, to finish these races because you can be the most experienced person in this, in the ultra world, and they still don't finish. Like there's people that go hard, go very unprepared in their world, right, or in their
Mm-hmm.
mindset, and they might just give up. And to me, that's not an excuse. Like to me, it's like I can't give up, man. I got to finish, man. To me, I cannot see my ultra sign up say DNF, man.
Yeah. Do you have any DNFs?
I have none to this day.
Yeah.
Yours was gonna be the first one, by the way.
So the reason I asked that is again, I don't know, it's really it's been a very interesting journey for me of the amount of people that I have met. One of my friends, for example, his name is Hunter. He's like three-time High Rocks champion. So, and you will say he works very hard. He is a full-time athlete, um, and he's just at another level that you could probably say he's gifted, right? But anyway, so I met people on that kind of like that level of on the athletic spectrum, and then I meet people everyday people like myself, and I wouldn't even categorize you out every day because not everybody's fucking doing what you done, right? But one of the things is really interesting is the way people prepare. Um, if my girlfriend is watching, she probably already thought about this because she always tells me that. She says she thinks that I do things on purpose to make it more hard. Like I make things harder on myself. Like I showed up to races where I forgot my freaking gear to. I showed up to SoCal Trail Pacifico this past, and I forgot my damn pack, and I bought a bag from Big Five, and it sucked. So it's so crazy when I hear you say that, but it's like I do understand why. It's not that you're trying to make things harder on yourself, but that mentality, bro, that's literally what I always thought it was. Like your training and things, make it as challenging and as ideal as possible, so that anything on the actual race that you nothing is gonna phase you because you already put yourself through different adversity. And another thing, side note, his family is also from Zacatecas and literally from like 20 minutes away from our rancho. So I don't know if that's what it is. Ruperto is from the same area from Zacatecas. So I don't know if it's people from Zacatecas that, would just like to struggle a little more to make us tougher. But I just want to throw in the side note. But I will add that I don't think there's one right or wrong. Shout out to Rocky and Lorena that you also met at my race at the A station, and then you can share more about specifically. But like I was sharing with you that when you were telling me those things as far as like not being prepared or not having particular things, my girlfriend is very much like I feel like similar personality as Lorena. When we crew her at AC 100, she had a binder with like specific what she wanted at each A stations, amount of calories and stuff like that. And that's her way. And I think honestly, do her way and don't do what we do.
Yeah, yeah, no.
But the opposite of that, I grab a bunch of shit and I throw it in my stuff, and then I figure out what I can find, and then I'll do that. So it's like completely like kind of reckless. But I don't know, man. I feel like that's what I'm trying to, I guess, share with people over the years is that when they're asking for what particular shoes, like if I ask you, what kind of shoes do you wear? What kind of pack of that? Honestly, those are important things, but at the end of the day, you got to do what works for you, right?
Yeah.
So then I can't wait till we talk about like can't go ahead of time of what I want to ask him, but we'll just keep going down the line. But it's like it sounds like some of the stuff that he was doing in the beginning, he's still doing them right now. but
No, no, and that's 100% right. And I'll jump on the Triple Crown journey real quick because I mentioned already Tahoe, but so there's been races, for example, that I show up like 3, 4, 5 hours before, and I'll tell you why. So uh, my career is very very high demanding. It doesn't allow me to just take time off whenever I want. Um, I'm in the retail world, and I'm a store leader, so I manage, right? I'm an operator,
manager,
so I'm overseeing, right, 60, 100 people depending, at the time where I was, and so I'll tell people all this time, like, dude, I'll sign up for a race. I'll be doing, MOAB 240, So yeah, I have to take time off to run it, but it's not like I get there and I have 2 days to like cool off and like relax. Like no, like I show up and I time it as best as I can, whether that's 6, 7, 8 hours before race time. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes I'm driving 7 hours to get to the race. And then like I only had 3 hours to sleep. And I started races where like my heart rate's already 180 and like I had 240 miles to go. That was Triple Crown 2022, by the way. That was MOAB. And I tell these I don't share that with a lot of people. When I do, I don't want to scare off people. But it is true. Like I do, it's not that I do it on purpose. It's just like I don't have that flexibility where I can like take a week, 2 weeks off, and just run, right? I'm not sponsored or anything, right? So when I tell people these stories, like it does throw them off, right? Or like for example with Bigfoot 200, man, like I'll land on the plane and I don't have a plan B to like how am I gonna get there? So like even with Bigfoot 200, like for 2022, like I actually like my Uber guy because I got an Uber, like right. I told him, hey man, can you come back and pick me up? And I just timed it. I'm like, I'll be done around this time. Can you come back? And like the guy was there. Like it worked out.
after the
It
race.
worked out fine after the race. It worked out fine. Like I finished right on time, right on the allocated time I had, and like he took me back to the airport, and I flew off. Didn't miss my flight or anything. And like, it's just things work out, even though most people would never put themselves in those stressful environments. Just it's just the way I'm wired, man. Like, I do like to torture myself, and I think that's one of the things I do enjoy about running ultras is like it's already uncomfortable. How can we make it more uncomfortable? Not because I want to, but just
Right, right.
because the circumstances, right? And we'll talk more about that when we talk about your race.
Why do you think that's the reason? Because I mean, like I said, we can share some similarities, but why? What do you think is the reason when like again, work is one of the issues that makes it very hard. Um, but is there anything particular why you think that you enjoy that part, like the chaos? I will say it's
Yeah,
control chaos.
yeah.
Like
It's
you have control over, you know, you signed up for it, you showed up to it, but it is a little chaotic. But why do you think you enjoy that?
I wouldn't say I enjoy it. I guess I sometimes like if it's expected or it happens, like I still don't let that situation kind of like stress me. Most people would stress in a
Oh yeah.
situation like that, 100%. Like driving at the time for like MOAB 240, right? I was in Colorado already. I was living in Durango. So driving from Durango, Colorado to MOAB, it's actually not too far. I think it's like a 4 hour drive. So, it's to me, it's like, all right, I can stay at work till like 3 p.m. I can start driving. And then it's interesting. Like, I'm thinking that, right? And then I end up leaving work super late and then I'm like, dude, I have to race. Like, right? I told myself, like, why? Like, yeah, like, you're right. Like, why did you stay that extra hour? That extra hour, you could have been on the road. You could have been, like, just chilling. Like, you're driving, so you're already tiring yourself out. Then you get to the hotel. Your buddy's waiting for you there. He's like, dude, what are you barely getting here, man? And then I don't have any of my gear ready. Like, my buddy's helping me. Like, he knows. He's probably laughing right now. He's like, dude, you just like, dude, you don't plan anything. Like, you plan it in your head, but you're not really planning. You're just kind of like hoping for the best outcome. And I guess you don't really want to be hoping because these races are intense, man. Like,
Oh
you
yeah.
don't want to be running tired and like, especially if you're triple crowning. So just, yeah, don't ever suggest that. And it's not like I don't want to say I don't enjoy it because at the end of the day, it's a challenge right, a challenge of its own. But yeah, man, I guess I put myself in situations that I shouldn't. But yeah, like example in your race, I'll tell you why.
I think you.
I wasn't late because I wanted to be late. It's
No,
just
no, I
like
get it.
circumstances led to me not being able to get out of work early.
But there might be a joy of it, of not only knowing that you finished it and got it down, but you know you're sitting there knowing damn well that you're probably the only one that just showed up that same day of the race or that just came from work. Like you're probably somewhere behind your mind, like, and I get it. Like I said, I feel like I definitely can relate because I feel like in many things I done shit like that all the time, and again, it's not really planned, and I'm very good at planning, I think, but I don't know. I can't explain to myself like why that happens, but so then that will be the second. What was the final thing on the Triple Crown for that year?
Well, it was Moab. Um, so that was the story I was talking about. Bigfoot was decent. Wasn't too crazy that
Hmm.
year. My buddy, he ended up picking me up. So that was the year where I didn't have to stress too much on Bigfoot. But for 2021 Bigfoot, I got to the race. That was the year I got there, and I just slept outside the school. I just bought a sleeping bag, and I realized, well, instead of getting a room, let me just get a sleeping bag. I'll sleep outside before race day, and things like that. Like nobody does, man. Like nobody's like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep outside prior to running a 200 miler. So it's just things like that. Like it's not
Dude,
it's not like it's not like it's joy for me, but it's just most people would be like, no, I'd rather just get a room and sleep.
there's several people that did the 50 miler or 100 mile, and they got a hotel. They didn't even want to stay at the campground, let
Yeah.
alone stay outside, dude. Yeah, so it's like to each his own, I guess. There's nothing wrong with it, but for sure for me, listening to it, it's freaking gnarly. It's pretty interesting, like to do all of that. A couple. We're talking about the Triple Crown, but before I forget, uh, people have heard of Badwaters mainly probably because of Goggins. So tell them a little bit about your experience at Badwaters,
so
what it is.
so Badwater, that's one of my five in my bucket list. So I'm super glad I got that done right. So actually, Badwater was most of this year. I was not able to really qualify for like even applying for like the lottery for Western States or Hard Rock because like I didn't really get into any of the races this year. It was mostly just training, training on concrete all year long. I did the virtual 267 in January, and I was just training for Badwater this year. So Badwater 135, it's one of the renowned, it's one of the it's renowned as the hardest foot race in the world, right? Um, a lot of people question it, right? That there's other harder races out there, and it's true. But at the end of the day, like what makes Badwater 135 unique is the fact that during the time of year in one of the hottest places in the world, which is
Let them know how what's
which,
the average temperature.
which is Death Valley. So for those that know a little bit about Badwater, once you're getting when you're running on Furnace Creek, making your way to one of the second um, I guess second ups on during that race, temperatures can get pretty gnarly in there. So the air could be like 125, could be 125 degrees Fahrenheit, but the actual ground is like 140, 143, 145, 150
Yeah,
degrees Fahrenheit. So it's practically burning through your shoes.
I heard that basically you kind of have to run on the white line of the road
Yeah.
so that your freaking shoes don't melt. So then it's never probably under 100 degrees, right?
No, yeah, that section,
115,
yeah,
120.
yeah, that section's pretty intense. And this year I was running, and I remember there was a girl in front of me, and I mean, she was awesome. I mean, she passed me, right, but yeah, she had to stop, and she was just just throwing up, man. And I was like, damn, man, she's putting in the work, right? Because it's just a hard race. You're just waiting for the sun to come down, so you can take advantage of that. But during the hottest time of the day, like yeah, you're getting beat up there, and
Yeah, no, that weather, that sounds, yeah, I mean, everybody has different goals and desire to do. I have no desire to do that shit, man. Like, just even when you're running here, I mean, during my race, it got pretty warm, but it's different because it's like the same thing. It's very exposed at the lake. But I know that when you're running at the lake and it's 90, it fucking sucks, though. So I can't imagine, like, being at 120. So that's MOAB. And you finished that one. Obviously, he has DNF any of them.
yes, that's one of them. Yeah, so all temperatures, all climates, I've practically done them, most of
Cold,
them.
hot.
Yeah, I've done a Minnesota 100 out there.
You were telling me, we were on the phone. He was telling me about Minnesota. That's also a race that not a lot of people finish that Minnesota. What is it called?
It's the Great Lakes 100. It's before the snow comes in, and it's around September. It's also lottery based.
Okay.
One of my best buddies lives out there. Yeah, so yeah, that race also like it's decent. It's cold, but it's like it's a different environment, man. Like I was like one of the only Hispanics out there running that day. I was like, cool, man. Like let's have fun. Um, but yeah, just overall, like I think as an ultra runner, you want to get that experience. Whether that's running in Puerto Vallarta, like I mentioned, right? Um,
The UTMB one.
UTMB, right? Anything that exposes you, anything that can get you uncomfortable, man. It's always a fun challenge, man.
And as I hear him talk about the different ones he's done, because he also's done Ouray in Colorado.
Yeah,
That
man.
one, I know about the race because my friend Miguel Medina, I think they took his course record now, but a couple years ago, I think he had the course record at like 31 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
But share a little bit about that one. I know that one because gnarly amount of climbing. Like, what's the total on that one?
Yeah, that one's like I think that's like the best buckle, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's out there for people that have never seen that buckle. A lot of people signed up now because everybody wants to do it, right? Everyone's big on the ultra world now. But I was fortunate enough to I was actually living in
Oh, you
Durango
were there.
during that time, and I remember signing up and telling my buddy like, "Hey, man, like, are you down to come and crew me, man?" He's like, man, you're doing that race? And I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, man, that's gnarly, right? Because
Yeah.
technically it's next to Hard Rock. It's only 3 hours away from Leadville. So those are pretty much like the big races out there in Colorado, right? And I remember he was like, man, yeah, it's a gnarly race, man. Like, right on. So I flew him in, he crewed me, paced me. And yeah, man, that race is about like, it's 100 miles. It's practically Bigfoot on steroids. That's what I call it. So Ouray is pretty much 100 miles, and it's about like 42,000 feet of elevation gain.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
shitload of climbing. And not
yeah,
only that, but you're the entire race, you're above 10,000 feet of elevation. You're in altitude.
that's right. So yeah, you can get up to like 14,000 feet up there. And what's cool about that, what I really love about that race is that was actually the race that almost broke me, man. So what I mean by that, it's I for sure couldn't have not finished that race if I didn't have a crew. Like there was just no way. Like I wasn't even as an experienced like ultra runner at the time, where I felt pretty confident. I was doing the training. I was out there running all over Colorado, thankfully. And I still think like it was brutal because I thought I was talking to one of the local runners there, And she was telling me, she was like, I'm trying to finish it on. She told me, she was like, my goal is 42 hours, right? And I was like, 42 hours, man. Like, I'm thinking like that's bad, man. What do you mean 42, man? I want to do it under 40, right? And then she looked at me and she's like, well, good luck, man. That this is your first time doing it. I'm like, yeah. She's like, all right, well, you'll find out. And I didn't get that right until like I was already like grinding out there, and I was already like just burning out, climbing, right? I realized, damn, she wasn't joking, man. Like this is hard. And it's just the climbing, man. The climbing just gets you. Like it's just you're practically just going up and down, up and down, up and down, and like it's never flat. Like it never
Yeah, you're
really
just
is.
going up and down.
Yeah, you're just constantly like it's insane because you want to run. Like yeah, you can come down fast and all that, but I mean, just the climbing just gets you, man. And yeah, like those nights are rough, man. Like
Cold.
yeah, cold. Not too cold, but yeah, you geared up and everything. But yeah, I finished in 48 hours. So cutoff is 52 hours for those that know about the race, and I was happy, with 48 hours. I thought that was decent, right? But yeah, if I ever go back, man, I would love to get
Under
around
4.
40, 42, 44 hours. I mean, that's a definitely a big win. That last section of that race, uh, Bridge to Heaven, man. Dude, I wanted to cry. I
Yeah,
wanted to cry because it just felt like
endless.
just the climb just kept going. Like once I got to the top, man, like man, tears came out. I was just like, you just feel that energy, like man, I just gotta go down and I'm done. And like it's just interesting, like just how your how your energy changes from like being tortured getting to that top to like once you're up there and you see the views because it's gorgeous. You're right, it's beautiful, man. I would go there constantly and yeah, you just appreciate like you appreciate the sport because
Yeah, we it just came up on YouTube. We were watching. My girlfriend and I were watching it, and she was like, "Oh, well," and that was that. It was the trails for Yuri,
yeah.
and I was telling her with Jimmy, and I was telling her like he actually did that, and we'll talk about a little bit about it on the interview. But man, just listening to that stuff, I mean, whether you ever done it, 100 milers, 200 milers, just know like all that race is done, man. Like that's everybody that is into this is like that's everybody's goals to do a lot of those, and that's pretty freaking amazing. And again, that's another reason why I wanted to talk to him, and and why the reason for these interviews that you want to. I mean, I can think of a lot of like the people that everybody will know about it. People on YouTube and on social media, but many of them have not done all of this stuff. You know, including our race, which is brand new. Um, so, do you want to add anything about this before we talked about our 200?
No, man, it's perfect. I think it's a perfect segue. I really want to talk about your race because I think I didn't really get a chance to speak more about it, but dude, it's
So,
just a
so,
race that blew my mind, man.
so let's start from the beginning. Again, so for our race, our community, we feel like, he lived in Moreno Valley. He didn't even know about it, and that's why I don't know, man. It's kind of interesting that we do get people from far away that come to do the race, and I did see. I think at one point, I think when I talked to you, I do ask because I do, and then Ramiro was tripped out that I was telling like, "Hey, call me," because he was asking some stuff about the campaign, and typically whoever organizes the race is the race director or whoever. They don't call you. You don't really talk to them. They just send you an email or whatever, and you just look through the information. But for myself, I don't know, man. I'm so attached to the trails itself. Is like he can see them from here, like behind my backyard. And the 8 years specifically of being on Lake Perez is just for me. It's not just a race. It's just a whole community. That particular Dia de los Muertos, everything about it is just very personal to me. So when I when I reach out to him and I say, yeah, give me a call because he was signed up for the 100 miler, and again I had to open the registration so he could sign up for the 100. And then somehow, like I guess he shared that he's done the Triple Crown, and I was like, okay, well then freaking do the 200 milers, and we got him on the 200 miler. But for someone that's done all of this, I wouldn't say it's pressure, but it's like I'm very. I mean, it just makes me level up everything about it. Make from the course to like the support group, and that was all. But I want to hear his perspective. From everything, it makes me like he's experienced all of this amazing, crazy 200s. This is our first year doing our 200, so it's not a competition, but like you hope that you can provide some challenge, but you can also provide that experience that he can go back and talk about it. So once again, he signs up 2 weeks before that, so I don't think I can ask him. I guess I will, but what was your training leading up to my 200? But he was not even signed up for my race, so it's not like That he signed up. Like right now, we actually have 11 people signed up. This year was nine of them, and all nine of them did show up. Four of them finished, and he was the fourth one to finish. So there was no training specific for my race. But what were you doing leading up to my race?
Believe it or not, I knew like signing up for this race was not a good idea. So obviously, you kind of heard a little bit more about like how you know, even these races that I signed up in advance. Like, yes, I did train right for your race. I'll be honest with you. I was like, let's see where I'm at. That was really like my
Mentality.
yeah my goal. I was like, I know I can finish it, but then again, I don't know how hard it is. Right? I'm thinking like, okay, it's a 200. It's local. All right. I looked at the mountains every day. When I go drive from from Moreno Valley to Beaumont where I work. And I was like, it can't be that bad, right? In my mindset, right? Again, I don't know these races. I just signed up and hey, good luck, right? And I'll be honest with you, man, that first 20 mile, it didn't help that I got there late, right?
Well,
But
let's start from the beginning. So, okay, I have their numbers and I wrote down. I saved from the registration. I had their contact info. The reason I did that is like it was big for me because it's only nine of them that signed up, and I didn't blame them because even myself, I kept thinking like, can people even finish this damn 200? Because again, we already had a lot of people that don't finish the 100 miler, and now this included a new peak, 3.0, where we call it Molcajete 3.0, which is even, I mean, going back to the first 100 miler, and I don't know if you know this, it was just the first climb, where I saw you when you started. That's the Molcajete 1.0, and people thought it was hard. Second year, I added 2.0 with your own on the top and all of that shebang. Like I added that one, and then a lot of people DNF the second year, and then they, leading up to this third year, they kept asking, are you gonna take that away? I'm like, what do you mean take it away? And they thought I was joking. I said, if anything, just look over there. And that's funny because it's like the little Simpson thing that somebody made.
yeah, it
It's
was
like,
funny.
look
Yeah.
over there. That's Molcajete 3.0. That's literally how it was. Like, no, I'm actually adding another one. I was like, what the fuck? So then this was the first year adding that. And Terry Peak is an established trail that's been there for a long time. But when you put them all together in that distance, I already knew it was going to be hard. But again, your perspective of someone that actually lives around here and sees that and even myself, I can't think of like someone that's talking about running in the Rockies, running in places like Tahoe, thinking of Little Lake Paris, right? So
Yeah.
you underestimate it 100%. Everybody does. So, but you did see that I had 44,000 feet of climbing, but then again, mentally, you're probably thinking, Ouray, same amount of climbing, but in 100. This is 200. It's gonna spread out.
Right.
So again, I do have their numbers. So we do a race briefing, and mind you, and from my point of view, dude, I'm like all over the place internally, meaning that I do have a great support. I already had Rocky at the A station a mile 12.8. Chris is like my right hand man. He's taking care of things. So I feel pretty good about it. That way, everything is like it's coming along really well. And now I'm just hoping that everybody that signed up, because every race, well, people don't show up. Not everybody shows up, but I'm thinking, it's gonna be kind of weird. Like if there's two people lined up at the starting lineup, but no, not all nine showed up because I had a race briefing and I'm looking to see who's missing, and it's like this guy Jim is missing. I freaking text him. Remind you, I'm not gonna do that. I normally wouldn't do that at a race. Whoever shows up, shows up. But in this particular race, it's starting on Wednesday. It's like a huge deal, right? And he just casually replies, "Yeah, I'll be there." And I'm looking. I even told Chris like, I just texted this guy Jimmy. He's like, he'll be there. It's fucking six. It's like 6:20. It's gonna start in fucking 10 minutes. Like, I don't know. I'm like not even like mad. I just annoyed. I don't know. I'm just like, what the fuck? I didn't even think he was gonna show up. But anyways, he said he'll be here. I'm like, I have no clue. And I think he said he was coming from work. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, whatever. So race stars, and then I bump into him in the trail. He's like a couple miles behind everyone. So I guess share your side of the story. Why?
Okay. So yeah. So backstory to that. So yeah, it's race day, right? And my boss, he was like, we have a meeting with the president in Highland. We're in Highland. We're in Colton first, and then we go to Highland to finish the day. But he had promised us like some of us were gonna get released early, right? So I was like, cool, man, I'll show up, right? I'm gonna leave at noon. I had it all planned out, man, right? Planned out, like always, right? Planned out. And yeah, it's already 12:01. We're having lunch, and he's like, well, you know what, guys? I'm gonna keep you guys. Yeah, we're gonna change plans. And then I'm figuring, he's gonna let us out like at 2:33, right? Wrong. He keeps us till like 4. So you know traffic out here. So I'm in Highland. I gotta make my way all the way to down to me right now. So I go through the I go through the fast lane, man. Like, it's obviously I'm taking the risk, right?
Almost got
Getting
arrested.
stopped, right? I'm like rushing, trying to get home. Um, Again, I didn't have everything ready because I was gonna give myself that time, right? I was gonna get home and just like pack my stuff, organize myself.
You had not even packed?
Nothing, man. Nothing. Nothing. I'm not kidding, man. I just got home. It was already like 5:50, 5:55 when I got home, right? And I was like, well, it's not that far, right? It's gotta be like 15 minutes from here or whatever. And that's when I even texted you. I'm like, I don't even know where it's at. I'm like, I don't even know where's the location, right? Right. Not good. And then packed my stuff, just randomly grabbed stuff. I'm like, all right, well, I'll need clothes for like 4 days or whatever, right? Whatever that meant, right? Got everything up, get my cooler because I had some electrolytes and stuff.
Did you
Electro.
even bring a cooler?
I did. I brought a cooler, but I mean, it didn't even have enough stuff. It has
Yeah,
stuff.
bro, a
It has,
cooler with nothing in it.
it has stuff for like 2 days, man. Like, and then I'm rushing, to get to you, and then I remember getting there like around like 6:45, man. I just know that like I was like, man, it's already dark, and they're like, oh yeah, you just go that way, right? So I was like, damn, like I guess like the race did start right when there's still some sunlight, but it obviously diminished right away within 15 minutes of the race, and like I get there, I'm like, all right, like what, like give me, get my bib, get everything. I couldn't even grab the stuff. I told him to,
Yeah.
told him to put it away from me, and yeah, I just go, and then like as soon as I start running, dude, like I get lost. I didn't know like as soon as you start going, you gotta make a right. Like I kept going straight, straight. I'm
Oh,
like,
to
oh,
the
this,
campground?
yeah, and like this can't be right, man. Like I was, cause I'm used to like looking at lights, lights and lights.
Well, yeah, when you're running by yourself,
Yeah,
literally,
and I was like, oh my god, I gotta go back. And so I go back, and then I see the
you
sign.
start following the reflectors.
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, cool. So, and then that's when I think I see you after like half a mile up.
Yeah, right before 1.0.
Yeah, and then like I'm like, all right, like let's have fun. It's already dark. Like I'm already like in my mind, I'm like, man, this is like not the way I wanted to start this race. Like I was already like definitely feeling like the stress. I was like, oh man, it's already dark. I didn't get to talk to you at all, and like I know you were like, yeah, yes, get here early, right? We're gonna have a briefing. We're gonna talk, right? So then off the bat, dude, like there you go. That was my day that I planned, right? So
Yeah, I bump into you because what I'd like to do, I start off the race, and even though everything's like, I put a ton of signs, a reflector, whatever,
yeah,
I still kind of go on the bike with some little reflectors, and I did that for the 200. I do it for every race, and I go on the bike. I mean, my goal, my idea, and my vision. I know it sounds kind of weird, but somebody sent me a video of some dude in Europe on a fucking horse, like doing what I would do, but on my bike. But on a horse, I'm like, I'm gonna give me a fucking horse, and I'm gonna do that. But anyways, that's what I like to do. I go and they people follow because in the beginning where you say you went straight, there was a sign, there was a reflector, but for whatever reason, even on the 100 miler,
yeah,
everybody was almost running me over, trying to skip down. Like, dude, the sign is right there. But anyways, so when I seen you, I was just kind of like, at that point, it was just kind of like laughing about it, but also like just thinking like, I thought you were in DNF, bro, because I was like, dude, that dude's late, and I know like so. You didn't see any of these, but before that, Andrea, um, Hannibal, all these different runners though they were set up like the day before. I think somebody showed up the same day, Ramiro, but they all had some sort of like you can see, everybody's a little nervous, but they have their own little rituals. I remember seeing Andrea like laying on the grass, like doing her thing at in the morning, just like some sort of like preparation, getting ready. You're coming from work, so it's just completely like chaotic. But I did see in the photos that you cut up to the everybody up on Molcajete 2.0. So yeah, he was late, but then he caught up everybody. So describe a little bit how did that first loop went? Like, because I know again you don't know like what to expect whatsoever. Some people came and do like a pre-run of the course,
yeah.
and some people were looking at. I don't think he even looked at the emails, but so
That's true.
what was your first lap like? You're by yourself, so are you trying to find headlamps or what are you trying to do?
Right. So I was like, okay, I already knew like, all right, everyone's already probably 1, 2 miles, definitely 2 miles ahead of me, right? I was like, all right, it's fine, whatever, right? Can I catch up to him? Probably, right? So I started getting comfortable. I started seeing like the trail a little bit better, and then after that first up, right, as you're coming down, once you get that nice little downhill to get to the flats, um, I passed like three. They're the first three runners that I found. They were just like hiking it down into my. Like, and this is interesting. I was like, oh man, they're chill, right? Like man, I was in my mind, I'm like, nah, I can't be chill. Like
Yeah.
Why are they walking? Like in my mind, right? Like I'm like, nah. Like so, I said, hey, what's up, guys? And I just keep going, right? I'm like, all right, if they're here, and I don't see anyone else for a good while, that means like people are. These are the runners. These are the other runners are like
They're going
going.
faster.
They're going fast, right? So yeah, and I just started pushing. I got a little bit more confident. I was like, all right, just keep following. Keep following the lights. Keep following the trail, and yeah, that first like once I got to
The
the
second climb.
second climb, second climb was like, all right, cool. I love that, right? I love your climbs, but I just didn't like the downs, man. The downs were
Yeah, nobody does.
brutal, dude. Those, I guess what I would want to say is if the way I'm gonna train for this race, right, coming next year, like definitely, man, I'm gonna train those downs because like that's really like where the injuries come. Like it doesn't matter how good you are of a runner, like those are pretty intense. Those downs are like no joke. They're like nothing I ever seen. Like not even these 200s, man. Like not even like Ouray had those. Those
The
aren't
downhills.
those downhills are not normal downhills. Like they're very technical. And even like when once the 100 milers started, you start seeing other people, not just the same nine of us, right? Like you realize like how much better you are now going those downs than they are because they're getting
Yeah,
used.
because they're so
Yeah,
slow.
because
Because
they're
they're just
well, yeah,
getting to see him for the first time.
exactly. So, and I got to see their reactions. Like, they're like, "What is this?" Right? Because I had the same reaction. But after you do it after like 4 or 5 laps, you're like, "All right, cool. I already know what's coming." And like, that's the cool thing about your race is like, it becomes comfortable to the point where you're like, "All right, I already know what's coming." So I can't like say, "All right, I don't know what's coming," right? But then you start doing it, and you just start finding your rhythm, man. Like, all right, like Rocky, like, well, dude, just take it easy. Don't go too fast down, right? So you start hearing like, all right, take it easy, like just get down, man, get down safely, right?
When you hit
Um,
3.0, were you by yourself?
yeah, I was by myself. I didn't see anyone. I didn't see anyone for a good while, but because I didn't really pass anyone past. Maybe I passed like another runner. I think I passed two more runners. Um, so I think I from the first loop, I think I passed like the first five. And
Yeah,
I, and
because
I was like stuck with like four. I was in like fifth, sixth place throughout the whole
yeah,
like.
because the first lap, Hannibal did the first lap in 4:45,
Yeah,
and then after that, Jose came not far behind him, and then Ignacio came kind of like behind him. Do you remember how long it took you to do the first lap?
yeah, I believe it was like five something.
Five change.
Yeah, and it
But
was
what did you think at the moment? Like that is what did you think you could keep that at pace for that?
no, dude. I actually went to my car and I questioned my reality, man. I was like, damn, this is brutal.
Well, be,
This was not comfortable. Like, all right, I gotta do this 9 more times. Like that's the part about the race that really challenges you because most people that do these kind of races that go rounds and rounds and rounds, like they are more stressful than like a typical
yeah,
race where you're not
because
constantly
you were
seeing.
just saying something about that you got comfortable. Essentially, like the quote says, like you got comfortable with being uncomfortable
Yeah,
because you keep doing the same climbs. But at the same time, I know for a fact that mentally, sometimes when you do an out and back or one big stretch,
yeah,
you know damn well you ain't seeing that anymore. So for as crap as that downhill was, you ain't gonna see it anymore. But yeah, I think that's a big part of it that you know now you're gonna see that shit 9 more times.
yeah.
So now, so what were you thinking? You finished one lap, and now you think I gotta do shit 9 more times. And again, you didn't have a crew, and I think I learned throughout at the end of the race that you didn't even change your shoes, right?
I didn't change my shoes. I
Did you
didn't.
change socks?
I did change socks.
Okay.
I never changed my shoes. I didn't eat like any food until like mile 80 or I forget when I actually ate something that was like food related. I was really just running on gels and electrolytes, on scratch gels. And when I ran out of gels, that kind of scared me, right? Because like crap, right? What am I gonna like? So that's why Rocky. I don't know. He'll tell you, but every time I showed up to his aid station, I'm like, dude, like feed me, man.
Yeah, I don't have
Dude,
anything.
like you feeding me is what's gonna keep me here, man. Because I'm constantly like, if you think about it, I'm running those 20 miles, but I'm only eating at that aid station, right? Like I'm not really eating much after that. It's just water, electrolytes, and anything I can grab, like any like snacks or whatever, Like it was interesting because that just shows you like how uncomfortable I can be, and I still can like manage it. Like I don't let that get to me, right? Even if it's just cold water or whatever, like my body's like takes it and nurtures it, right? Like great, man. All right, keep going, dude. Like you got water. So yeah, I think
Just that alone, I can't think of many people that could even finish the not just the 200, but even our 50 or 200 miler, like without not like most people did have a crew. They have plenty of everything that they have. They were
Yeah.
there for, like just everything about it. It's pretty gnarly. So then you get through your first lap, right? And I guess a testament and it's kind of very cool to hear like your experience in Rocky feeding you and all of that because one thing is not that we recommend and tell people, oh look, freaking Jimmy literally got out from work and showed up and did it and still got it down, but it is a testament to what we've been trying to build. We don't necessarily want to have a race that like, I mean, it's kind of like the opposite. We tell people to train and come prepared in every facet, but it also shows you like the shout out to like the people volunteering, the people in our crew that are helping out because if he could finish the 200 mile without a crew, you don't have pacers either. We did have a lot of pacers that kind of volunteered to pace others, but I don't believe you don't have a pacer at all. That you did the 200 without pacer, right?
No, man, I didn't have no pacers. I didn't have a crew. Yeah, man, it's pretty much
Bare bones, like
pretty lonely out there. Like
so.
obviously with me trying to get it
So if
done,
you did it
right?
in 5 hours, then now that would have taken to close to midnight, right, to go on your second lap.
Yeah.
So how was your second lap now that you're going? And again, their experience is gonna be a whole different thing because if you line up to any of this, the most popular races that have been going on for a while, if I've experienced 2 years in Cocodona, and you're around, it's just the adrenaline that you get from all these people and so many people. Even on Friday when everybody showed up, it's a different experience. But for them to be alone out there in the freaking trails for since Wednesday is pretty gnarly. That's like a whole different challenge. So how was your second lap when you went out there?
No,
Now
this
that you've done it once, I guess.
the second lap was again I when I finished that first 20 miler loop, I definitely questioned them like, man, I don't even want to do this. Like that's the first thing that came straight to my mind because like I said, starting that first 20 miler, like it was very uncomfortable. You know, I was not expecting those downs. Like I was like, damn, this is deep. Like this is again, like I said, like I get out of my house and I can see the mountains, right? I can see like Paris, and like you don't think like elevation, right? Because I like I mentioned, I train on the M, right?
Yeah.
When I'm out here, and like the M's only 1,300 feet, right? But it's like it's not even steep, you know, like it's just a nice little downhill. So I was guessing oh, this might be the same, right? So it shouldn't be too difficult. But then you're out here and you're like going through like those tops and you're coming down up and down and you're just like damn this is brutal. Like I was like man I don't even know if I want to keep doing this. But then I realized like nah first of all I'm like I'm not gonna let him down because you obviously you let me in 2 weeks prior to race time, right? And I was like, no, man, I can't let you down. That was one thing. And then second, I was like, well, dude, I don't want to see DNF on my ultra sign up. I was like, all right, there's still time. And I remember, I forgot who told me. They're like, dude, there's still time. Like, if you just feel like giving up or whatever, just rest, dude, rest. Like, no one's here telling you, like, go, keep going, you
Yeah.
know? Like, and I think that's the cool thing about your race. Like, it's decent amount of time. Like, even for, like, me being your last finisher, right? Like, on, like 90 hours or so. Like, I mean, that's still pretty, like, you're still kind of risking it, right? But in reality, like, that's enough cushion, right? There's cushion for
Yeah,
that.
you got a
If anything
six.
goes wrong, and obviously I told you I
What
got
was your total time? I don't
it was
remember.
like 90 hours, and I got injured like at mile 191. I don't know if I told you. Remember?
No.
Yeah, I twisted my ankle. Um, yeah, I twisted my ankle, and then I had a little bit of like knee.
Oh, you did tell me about your knee was
Yeah,
bugging
yeah,
you.
it's still there, still healing. But I mean, so I snapped my ankle at mile 191, right, which is lap nine, finishing towards the end, right, and and I still kept going, man. It was very uncomfortable. So that just made it even harder to finish. But
So where were you when the day started getting warmer? Because so lap two you would have finished it. Do you remember how long it took you to do the second lap?
it probably took me a little bit longer. Um,
Probably like 7 hours, maybe.
Probably like six and a half.
So then to start once you finish your second lap to start your third lap, it was probably in the morning, like sunrise,
Yeah.
and you didn't sleep, right?
No, I slept, man. I didn't sleep on that one, but I believe I forget which one of the laps. I took a long nap, man, like 4 hours.
But in the first 24 hours, you didn't sleep.
No, no, no. Yeah, I kept going.
Okay.
I kept going, man.
So how was it? I mean, the thing about it is like we had several people that have finished Badwaters and they have the NFL race. So heat sucks no matter what, right? So when what lap do you remember? You might have been on like lap three, probably in lap three
Yeah.
when we got freaking hot. Mind you, last year around this time, the highest temperature we had, it was like 70. That was the highest. And then it was like in the 40s. So it
Yeah.
was more like on a cooler. He got up to 90 degrees.
Yeah.
So how was doing the loop now in the freaking heat?
Dude, I remember that. So I'm glad you mentioned that because uh, so it was Wednesday, right? What's
Mm,
so Thursday. So we were there for obviously a few nights. So yeah, there was one day, and I'm not sure if it was Thursday or Friday, right? It could have been Thursday. It was humid, like it was cloudy in the morning,
mm.
and you can just tell, like, man, once these clouds go away, man, it's gonna get humid and hot. And yeah, man, uh, it definitely made the race more difficult. Um, so what I did is I put on my sunglasses, um, and kind of like reverse psychology myself. Put on my hat like this, right? So I'm just going up Molcajete 2, right? 3, like 2.0, 3.0. But my strategy was like ignore the heat, use your poles, get up quick, and then just keep traversing the same way, right? But if I wouldn't have my sunglasses, which they came in very helpful. If I didn't have poles, yeah, it would just be a difficult race, man. Because I've done races where I don't use poles, and like, dude, I pay the price. Like, it could have been a 23-hour race, and it became a 27, 28-hour race, you know? So,
Yeah, people do ask me about the poles, and this is where what I mean is like I don't use that route that I created. Like, I don't make things to like see how many people don't finish. I really try to do as best as possible. I mean, even with the off road vehicle that we had, I had a cool right there, and I intercepted a lot of people that I was giving them. Besides the aid stations, so many races, including like Cocodona, Pace Junior, there was a section at that particular race where it's like an 18-mile stretch, fucking muddy as hell. No aid stations at all. It's 18 miles, so it's not uncommon to go big gaps with no aid station. So the fact that you get an aid station for those doing the 100 and the 200, you get the aid station at mile 7-ish, 8,
yeah.
and you get another 13, and now you're 7 miles away from the finish. That's plenty of room.
Yeah.
But even with that, I'm still out there, and the rest of our team, we're still out there trying to like help you, meaning that everything that is done is not to make it harder. I'm not gonna say don't use poles. Hell no. Like if you don't have poles, that'd be a whole different level. But it's like just like it's the message that we're not trying to make it so people don't finish. I tell people use your poles. Pacers, we got pacers. You don't have pacers, we'll probably try to. I mean, it's very hard, mind you. Um, Most of your friends, anybody watching, not everybody has a bunch of friends laying around that can just drop a freaking 20 miler on the dime. Like, oh yeah, let me go run 20 miles with you. The reality sometimes I just kind of like take myself back and I was like, oh shit, not a lot of people. Because somebody was asking me, can we use pacers like split them? Like, can somebody do the first 10 miles? And I was like, what, split it what? And then it just dawned on me like, oh shit, yeah, like not everybody has a bunch of friends laying around that are gonna even do the loop once.
Yeah.
So with that says, yeah, like again, anybody doing any of our future races, yes, I will encourage, bring your poles. They make a huge difference, like saving your legs,
Yeah.
and little things like you said, the sunglasses, just little things like that. I mean, it's gonna make a huge difference. So now this is Thursday. So how did that rest of the race go for you?
Yeah, I think Thursday, right? Thursday to Friday, once we start seeing other runners, like I think the weather was favorable. But again, like it was still like
So
I,
freaking hot,
I
dude.
remember just like getting down 3.0 and just being like, okay, glad, man. I'm glad I'm down from here. Because once you're there, like most people complain about like the flats, from getting
Some people
from
were
rocky.
saying that felt super long.
No, yeah, that's actually yeah, going through that dam, or I call it the dam, but
Yeah, it's a damn.
yeah, just going flat there. Like I loved it, man, because I actually trained for that. Right, that
Yeah,
year was all Badwater for me. So to me, like the flats was like cool, man. That's awesome. I can just as long as I keep a decent pace, like man, I'm gonna make up time.
yeah, yeah.
Most people were like, yeah, we're gonna walk this because they probably did very well on the ups and downs, right? But to me, it was a different strategy, right? Um, but like I said, like in your race, I remember you mentioning like this isn't a race that like you just can't come here and like you can have all these races done. It's still not gonna be easy, man. Like, and I remember listening to you saying that, and I was like, I'm glad I have these races. Like, they did come into help, right? Because it's just knowledge, right? It's just experiences,
Well, yeah, it's a lot of experience. It's just
right?
that's like over 1,000 miles of freaking
Right,
different terrain, different.
right.
I mean, probably every challenge, being cold, being hot,
Yeah,
being rushed to the race. Like you already have so much under your belt. So yeah, hell, yeah. I don't think many. Like I said, I go back to it, and I don't think many people could have finished that. even if they had the experience and everything, but
Yeah.
like, um, yeah,
It's,
all that came handy, and that's kind of like the whole thing with ultras. We do all these different races, and we gain from each race, and
yeah.
we learn from it. Where was the closest that you really thought about DNFing? Like, do you remember what mile?
Oh, multiple times, man. Like, I think
Every time you got to the campground.
every time I got to the campground and I like laid in my car real quick to just see like what was my strategy next, I was like, man, do I really want to? I literally like I would nap myself to like not even think about it. Like I was like, all right, let me just take an hour nap and then I'll see how I feel, right? And then I realized I can quit right now. And then what? I'm gonna go home and what? Just think about like why didn't I just keep going?
Right.
So that's what was really like one. That's how I was just kind of like telling my mindset,
Motivation.
like, "Why, dude? They haven't kicked you out. There's still time. Like, no one's telling you, oh, you got like 30 hours. Like, get going. Like, it's like kind of like just get it done, keep going. No one's pressuring you to finish, right? It's like that's all on you. That's all, and that's the cool thing about the race. It's like it's really up to you. Like, if you quit, you quit. But no one here's telling you like you gotta quit because it's hard. Like everyone's like, dude, everyone's trying to finish. Everyone's trying to support each other in whatever way they can, right? Like you get to the 20-mile loop and dude, you just see the campground, you see everybody like you see everyone happy, everyone's like, supporting each other. Like I was like, that's cool, man. Like
Yeah.
that's the vibe that kind of keeps you going, because most of the times you just you do a 20-mile loop and then everyone's in their own little world. And
Yeah.
like with you, I feel like everybody engaged. Everybody was like, people were like all the tents were all lined up as soon as you start going and like people are cheering you up, especially once everybody else
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
coming in on the weekend. And that was the cool part. Like I was like, all right, well at this point, like you have other people here. It's not just you anymore. It's not just you and 9 other runners. It's
Do
like,
you remember where were you at? I guess Friday at 6:30 p.m. Do you remember where you
yes.
were when everybody
Oh
started?
man, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was thinking about that as well. So I was actually in the dam. So it was cool because I can see all the lights.
I started going.
Yeah, I started seeing it. I was like, oh my god, it's super cool. Because I remember, I believe that was that already Halloween? Was that
Yeah,
day?
that was actually
Yeah,
Halloween.
which is cool, man. Because I was looking to my left. I was like, all the houses, right? You can see the
Hmm.
houses off the dam on the left, and yeah, I was thinking like, oh man, cool, it's Halloween, right? Moon and everything. I can see the M, and then I started seeing the lights. I'm like, cool, man. You can just seeing like it's just cool because you're like, cool. Like I'm gonna
Now you're not by yourself.
yeah, it was a cool experience to see that because most people like are trick or treating, right? Most people are not like, yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna like. I started the race right earlier than everybody else, but like everyone that signed up for that race for that 100 miler knew like they weren't gonna celebrate Halloween.
Yeah.
Their typical Halloween day, it's like, no, dude, you're gonna show up to Lake Paris, park, get your tent going, whatever, and like that is your Halloween. You're gonna start running through the night, and it's just like that's pretty insane, man. It just makes you like you just makes you appreciate like, oh, you're not the only crazy person out here.
Yeah. No, definitely we're not. And talking to you and some of the others that have shared a little bit of their experience, I think of stuff and I share with a few people that like the first time we added that campground to the race. I don't know, man. We started a race like a Hunter's parking lot, kind of like in the big empty parking lot,
Yeah,
and the campground was over there. So like, I think my friend James was the only one that stayed at the damn campground. So it was like this campground. It's like one tent. Everybody's running in their cars, whatever. It was just whole different, right?
right.
But my vision was always like what I picture it will be like a family. Like growing up, we used to go camping all the time growing up. So I used to think of it like, man, wouldn't it be cool like that if it becomes like basically like family camping and running. And essentially, too, one thing that is challenging with like when you have your significant others, family, kids, or whatever, sometimes it is also very hard for people to do events because it kind of sucks for them. I've done a lot of races where I helped and crew, and you're driving around a freaking state, like you're running everywhere, right?
Yeah,
And you're not really enjoying that much. But like the way what I always envisioned it was that with the campground, people can actually have a great time, see their families are supporting, and not only that, but just like in your experience, they everyone there, they're not just there for their runner. Everybody were offering. I remember like there was one morning that I don't know, Chris was trying to fix me up a play. Like again, shout out to Chris. He, Rocky and everybody that made these things way better.
yeah,
My friend Junior, Miriam, everybody that showed up at one point. I have a lot of stories of how they just. I literally cry a few times, bro, because it just made me feel so blessed to have that support. But that was the other thing. Like I said, one day I'm eating right now in the morning, whatever I had, and I think it was Ramiro's wife and his mom. He's like, you want some tamales? I was like, oh, hell yeah, I want some tamales. And then we're just sharing food, and that's essentially like what the goal was. So then when it happens, and it actually becomes what you always envision, it's pretty awesome. And that's kind of what we've been striving for. Again, we encourage people to bring a crew, to bring their own pacers, to bring their family. But guess what? Even if you don't, you can still finish the race, and more than likely, somebody's gonna adopt you and take you in. So, all right. So then, uh, everybody comes in, and then from there on, you're seeing people that are gonna do 100 miles. But you just did 100 miles. How was it when you finished 100 miles? Was there like a mental, like a little better, or thinking like I already did 100, I just got 100 more, or was it the opposite? Like I just did 100 and it freaking sucked, but now I have another 100. Which one of those was it for you?
Yeah, I think the when I remember finishing the 100, the fifth lap, and you were there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, all right, man, you're one of my first that has finished 100. Like I was one
Mm-hmm.
of your runners of the 200s. You're like, well, you're halfway done. Like that's good, man. Like keep going. And I was like, dang, I'm only halfway done, right? But mentally, right, I'm used to that, right? But like emotionally, I'm like, damn, dude, like it is draining, right? Because like you said, like I am used to like running. I mean, some of these races, of course, I ran them alone, but I got uncomfortable to running with a crew, right? Crew pacers, and like out here, dude, like really, that did take a toll on me because I was like, man, like I don't have support out here. Like I see everybody with support, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I didn't share that with you, but I was like, man, everyone here is like, they have their families, and like there was times where like I met some runners right throughout the race, and like, they had their buddy with them, or they had their, whoever it was, right? And like you can tell, like, they're like, let me change your socks and stuff like that. So you're used to that
Yeah, yeah.
that part of the race. That's fun, right? But yeah, overall, I remember like getting to that 100 mile, time frame, and I was just like, I'm glad I saw you because that really, you did cheer me up because you're like, dude, like awesome, dude, like 100 miles, dude, like there you go, man, you're halfway done, and like that was cool, man. That really did help. And then like everybody, like I said, everybody else was already like, the 100 milers were already like finishing right their first lap or so. So I was like, cool, man. They're finishing their 20. They're hitting, they're getting into their 40. They're trying to finish that part now, and like I'm like, I'm already at 100. Like, just keep going, dude. Like, and I think that point in time really did kind of like make it. You start seeing it like, all right, man, it's doable, man. Just finish it. Like, it's still uncomfortable, but like, just keep getting it done. And I mean, that was really my mindset throughout the whole race, man. Just every time I finished that 20-mile loop, I was like, all right, dude, you made it. So like, just pause, reflect, and get going, man.
I try to tell people that like you can't look at the whole 200 miles or 100, or even the people doing it, because there's a lot of people that didn't finish the 50 miler though. There's a lot of people that didn't finish, more than half didn't finish the 100 miler. So it's a very tough thing, and sometimes when you're in it, you might not even realize like you're doing something pretty fucking incredible. But I do tell them like you can't look at the whole distance. You got to look at just get the first lap out, and then do a little some sort of countdown, like nine,
Yeah.
8, or the opposite way. Just do one at a time, and that's all that stuff is like cliche. People talk about running one step in front of the other. You hear all that shit, but it truly is. Is that you can't look at the whole thing as a whole, because otherwise it will become very like overwhelming, and just do one at a time. I wanted to ask them because we did have another video where we did share at the actual race about Hannibal. I think he podiums every single distance he's ever ran on my racing. He's done all of them. Um, but on the 200, I think he felt like he had the third place on lockdown, and he said that somebody from our crew told him that Jimmy dropped out. But at times, I did ask people, but he was not even there for the pre-race thing, so I don't even think he would have heard that. But I always try to ask people like, look, if you're gonna drop, let me know before you do that. I'm not gonna try to convince you, but like if you tell me why you're dropping, if it becomes like I don't have a patient, I'm not really. And there was several people like that. With I'm not trying to go out there by myself. Dude, we fucking pull a pacer out of the hat somewhere. At many points, I was down to even did. I ended up did pacing the last guy, this guy Michael from New York, on the at the end of his 100 mile. I did pace him,
Nice.
and I don't necessarily want to because by then I'm running on fumes myself, then I don't want to go out there become a liability to the runner, or you know what I mean, like. But I'm still willing, so I do ask people to tell me. But like at one point, you do lose track of like, where is it? We don't have like a live tracking every second where you at. So if you don't tell us, I don't know. So at one point, I think they thought maybe Jimmy had dropped. I mean, they hadn't seen him. And again, it's 20 miles. People were gone for 8 hours. Some of those people on the 200 and the 100, they were doing laps, 10-hour laps, 12-hour laps at some point. So I think Hannibal, like he said, he was doing some recording and stuff. And next thing you know, do you remember which mile you caught up to him?
Oh man, I think this is probably the biggest takeaway of the whole race, man. Like I would say that was obviously I got injured because of that, right? Because we're pushing hard, man. But again, he's an incredible runner. He's definitely in better shape than I am. And yeah, so we're going up the first top, right?
The first climb,
The first climb, and it was already coming down. We already started going down, right? Going down to the
on the little
flats, right?
valley,
Right. And I see him, right? I saw him. He's just there, like chilling. He's out there
recording.
recording, and like, and then like honestly, I didn't think like I just didn't think any of it, right? I'm just like, hey man, like I was already pumped. I was pumped. I was trying to finish, right? I was like, cool, let's just get it done, right? Like I wasn't really thinking of placing anymore at that point. I was just like, I don't know where people are at. So I
This is the
saw,
final lap, so.
yeah, it was final lap for me, right? I just didn't know where he was at. I thought he was done already. Someone had told me he was already like
Hmm.
6 hours away from me or whatever, right? So I see him and we just start chit chatting. Hey man, what's up? And like, but I didn't really think about it at the time. But he had like his smile just like dropped. Like he went from like looking at me like he saw a ghost, and then he was just like his whole demeanor changed, right? So I was like, all right, man, catch you later. I was like, I'm not gonna talk, right? I'm like, let's go, man. I was just like coming downhill, and then like I slowed down towards the flats. I slowed down a little bit. I'm like, taking it easy. Like I'm not thinking of like having to push the limits, right? And out of nowhere, like I see him like just pass. He just passes me on the sand part, getting towards the first aid station.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, like I guess we're placing something, right? I don't know, he knew something I didn't know, and we go at it. We go at it. So we definitely stick. Or he was always ahead of me by like a few meters, but constantly we're just constantly like trailing each other, right? But he was you can tell he was well rested, and
Yeah, he slept a few hours.
yeah, so that helped a lot. That I can see, right? He was pumped. He was doing well, right? And then we get to the first aid station, and he literally like he doesn't spend more than like 20 seconds. He just grabs the soda, chugs it. That's what they told me at the aid station. They're like, oh, he just chugged the soda and just kept going, right? And at that point, like he got a nice stretch, right? He was already stretching. I took my time. I already knew I needed water. I already knew like I needed to resupply. Like I knew I was not gonna it would be like crazy for me to think like I can go through 2.0, 3.0 without any like water, dude. So I took I took about 5 minutes, but I can still see him. I'm like, all right, he's going fast. So I was like, all right, let's go. And then like I start pumping with my pulse too, and but at that point I realized that I could have caught up to him if I didn't like snap my ankle. I think I could have probably caught up to him at Molcajete 3.0. I think I could have gotten close to him, and then I knew if nothing would have gone wrong in this case, like I think I could have beat him at the flats,
Yeah.
because I know he dreaded that section. I
Yeah,
know,
he hated that. He
and I
said that.
love that. I love that part. And he always told me, he's like, dude, like why are you running this part? This part sucks. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
nah, dude, this is like the best
And it's
part.
funny what he said that when you guys kind of, for the last time when you guys drifted apart,
Yeah,
he said that he was like trying to like for kind of like break, basically put a pace that you wouldn't want to keep up going. But that if you would have kept going, he probably would have to fucking drop at that point, like the level of intensity.
yeah,
But that must be like fucking challenging, man, because when you're trying to finish a distance like that, but then all of a sudden now you're racing someone,
we were racing for
that
like,
has to be like fuck, dude, like pressure and like,
yeah,
and yeah, you guys were doing for third place, and then again, Hannibal always podiums. We did a podcast which should be coming up pretty soon, and he was trying to say that he didn't care about podium, but that's not true. Like
nah, nah,
he's a very
nah.
competitive
All of
person.
us, all of us care
Yeah,
for
and
it.
he always podiums, and he did like according to he said somebody did tell him that you had dropped. So yeah, he probably like what you saw. It was probably true. He probably saw like a damn was because he's thinking, there's nobody behind me to take the podium, and now he has to fucking race. And that's when you guys told me that story. That was pretty sick. Um, but yeah, I can personally, I don't know, man. Like I've never really been on that. I mean, it's been years, but to be in that competitive level, like that,
Yeah.
I'm even good enough to compete for podium, and I haven't been there, so that must be like pretty freaking incredible. So once he goes on to himself. From there on, it was like no question that you were gonna finish, right?
Yeah, so I snapped my ankle, right? And then heading down to 2.0. And then I snap it back in. I was like, oh crap, let's hope it's not too bad, right? And then I just kept pushing myself a little bit more, and then yeah, good, right? I was like, all right, cool. This it's gonna suck, but I'm already gonna finish, right? So just take it easy. Like for sure, three podiums over, right? Um, he was already heading towards 3.0, so I was like, yeah, it's not even worth it. It's not worth it for me to like keep pushing at that level anymore.
Mm.
But it was cool because like we pushed so hard that like it technically did help us kind of
Well, half of
finish
the lap
last.
was gone because when you
Yeah,
come down from 2.0, you're already over mile 10.
right.
So you already have half of the loop. Now you just have 10 miles to go.
Right, exactly. And then I was just obviously the pain sucked, but I remember getting finishing 3.0, and I was like at that point I was like, yeah, this is painful, right? But whatever, keep going. Getting down and meeting up to like Rocky, right? I was like, damn, dude, like I was like, I wanted to refuel, and I'm like, just keep going, man. But it was already getting hot, so it was already that day was hot. That was a hot
Yeah,
day
it was
already.
freaking hot.
And then I remember going, finishing up through the dam, and then seeing Lorena. Lorena was coming
Mm.
back down. I guess she had paid. She had crewed someone, right? It was first place finisher, I think, or I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
sure, right? And I remember seeing her, and she was like, "Keep going, like you're almost done." And I was like, "Yeah, like," and you finished the last section, right? And I remember just like, "Damn, man, like, I just want to finish, man," because like, I mean, I'm not in pain so much because the adrenaline's still there, but I was like, "Yeah, this is not gonna be good once I'm done." Like, I can tell it, my foot was already swollen up, right? But yeah, it was cool, like having to finish a race with trying to finish for placement, right? Like for third
Yeah, like
place.
competing.
That is like I haven't done that in a long time. Like I don't think it's rare when you ever get a chance to really compete with someone that's like
At long ultras, for sure.
in that the last mile, right? It's just pretty. It was pretty cool. Like that's something that him and I will probably remember forever, dude.
Yeah, man. Going forward, like, I personally want to free up myself more to be able to. All my other races, though, you'll see me, and people did see me throughout the race a lot, but I'm always like on top of the climbs, and I run down with them, like, and things like that. But it would have been great to have like, imagine like at that point you have like in a bike or whatever. Definitely not running can keep up with them, but like running and filming that like live. We want to add more of the live feed. As the race grows, then more resources are available, then we could have it. I mean, I have no clue what it costs is to have someone like Mountain Post. Like, I imagine that's pretty freaking expensive. But who knows, man? The sky's the limit. If you continue to work, keep building the community that we have, then we'll probably have those things. So then for you, when you finally finish, the other thing that was fucking crazy and incredible to witness is like everyone that finished. Mainly we're talking about the 200, but there was a lot of people on the 100 miler. But on the 200, so four of you finished, but every single one finished like running. Everyone was like, again, you look at other distances, sometimes you see motivational videos of people doing like a road marathon and they're crawling on the floor to get to the maces. So it's like, okay. And I do see people criticizing them. It's like, well, maybe they should train harder. But there's a truth to everything. It is motivational, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, well, why are you crawling? So the thing is to have seen everyone, even Hannibal doing a freaking box jump on
He's
the at the finish, and everyone ran to the bell and rang their bell. I think Jose, there's a clip. I didn't forward the clip. There's a clip of Jose when he finishes. Motherfucker was going. I think he was probably going like 6 minute pace as he crossed the finish line. But it was pretty cool to see that. And again, it's one other layer of my race that I've been hoping that I will get. That is like, not that we're not encouraging someone to potentially hike a lot of it because there's a lot of hiking involved in ultra running.
Yeah,
But I was sharing with him when he finished is that race, our race, is like you can't, you're not gonna finish hiking it. Like so, you really have to train for it.
yeah.
And I guess a couple questions it will be like, overall, with all the adversity coming from work, not really having like not having a crew, but luckily having other people that encouraged and helped you with everybody at the aid stations. But what was your overall feeling the moment you rang the bell and you're like, damn, with all that shit, I still finished it. What was
Well,
your feeling?
I love the fact that like you recorded it because there's a lot of things I don't record in any of these races. Like
Mm-hmm.
either my buddy takes pictures, video,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm not really big into that, at least not now. And kind of seeing you like knowing that I came finished, you happen to be there, right? You start recording, and you start asking me right away. I love the fact that you asked me. You're like, man, like this isn't a race for like like for anyone. Like you're the fourth finisher. Like I don't think no one else is gonna finish, right? And
Yeah.
like I remember just getting there and that bell, man, that I love the fact that you have it because every time you finish that first loop, you're going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like you realize like you haven't earned that.
Yeah.
You
You
haven't
just
earned
see it there.
like you haven't earned that. You just want to push that, like, dude, because that means you made it, right? You accomplished something that like first of its kind. Um, it's never been done, right? Like I am one of 4 finishers for now, right? That's done this race that can speak about it and can tell you, how challenging and how difficult it is compared to some of these races, right? And dude, I remember just letting you know, I was like, you take that breath and you're like, yes, like I'm done, right? And then you start like interviewing me, man, and, like just asking questions and just kind of like saying like, man, yeah, this isn't a race like I don't care about like your backstory, right? In a sense, like
Yeah.
this race is a different kind of race, and this race is definitely like something that like I took pride in, and I make sure like people that come here get uncomfortable, right? And that's one thing I did like about the fact that you ask those questions, you take the time, right, to like talk to us. You don't just be like, all right, cool, here, man, here's your buckle, like, cool.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah, and that does happen a lot, even like with some of these races, like sometimes you don't get to talk to the race directors, sometimes you do, right?
Yeah.
And with you it was cool because like you still wanted to get to know like how was this experience, like, so it makes me want to engage, makes me want to feel like, okay, dude, like this is a race I would want to recommend for other people because you're taking the time to really get to know your runners, and that was cool about finishing because obviously we got to talk to you about like how we were competing for third place, how I got there late and you're like, dude, you got here late and you finished. Like, it's
Yeah.
like
Like.
you had every right to be like, man, this guy showed up late. I ain't gonna finish. Like, it's easy to think that, right? Because like he's probably not even taking this seriously or
And
whatever.
you know what? I don't even think much of it. I just, like I said, is if someone who's been in just running, like whether it's a marathon, whatever. I mean, I don't know the city marathons, whatever, but in the trails, I just know a few. I know Daniel from SoCal Trail. I know a few people that do races, and it's just so much that goes into it that
Yeah,
in the moment, like you just, my thing is always like safety first, right?
yeah, good.
You can only do so much for people. Like you still gotta get on those trails. I don't know how many freaking reflectors I put on the mountain, but I put a lot of reflectors. I did everything, and that's all I can do. But there's so much on my mind. So yeah, when I saw you when you started, like I didn't really have a prejudgment of anything. I just kind of like, sucks he missed the damn pre-race meeting because I felt like it was pretty energetic, even though it was like a very unique, like certain amount of people. It's not a bunch of people as opposed to Friday, right?
Yeah,
So, and then like when you're talking about like being there at the finish line, I was trying to keep track as much as I can, and it's very difficult to have like be there for all those runners because they finish at such a big different times. The only one that I wasn't there for, it was the first one. It was Ramiro. But at that moment, I already knew that I was gonna miss him, and I told Chris, make sure that everybody's there, and of course his family was there. But at that point, even health wise, man, like there was moments where I was struggling, where I was just like had gone like 30 minutes of sleep, and I'm all over the place, dude. So it's like I did my best. So I don't know if it's just coincidence or what, but I really tried to be there. So whenever like all of you guys finish, it was special to me. And I have heard from other races when people do say it's like, oh, I finished a race, and somebody just like literally just hand me the buckle and that's it. Like here's your buckle, bye. Like one thing that it was a little different this year, and I've been wanting for that to be is like, man, sometimes when my 100K, like the race in April coming up, like sometimes the 100K is tough too. I even compare like that our 100K is probably harder than some 100 milers. Like honestly, because of that again about the course and everything. And sometimes kind of suck that sometimes there's be nobody there. Like it be me, honestly, man, me sitting in a freaking freezing my ass off on a little fucking chair waiting for like runners in the middle of the night when they're finishing the 100K and just like, you know, greet them like the way I did with you. But I've been hoping that there will more people. And again, it depends on the time of the day that they finish.
yeah.
But I think that has grown way more and it continues to be where like all these different people are like there for you. And that's what I'm hoping that it continues to do. So one thing that he mentioned about the video that I recorded of him, and I think I reposted it today. I don't know if that part was in the video, but he says like right away. He says like kind of what he's experienced. He says something about like, yeah, this. I think I'm sure he's thinking of everything he's done, and he's like, yeah, this is probably if not the hardest I ever done. And then you did say like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it again, or something, or maybe I'm not gonna do it again. So what you changed your mind real quick? Like, what makes you? Is it now thinking like? if I come in with like maybe some sort of crew, or maybe if I actually have the opportunity to take the day off before, what is it that you're thinking, or what will you do? What are you gonna do differently, if anything, for next year's 200 Muertos 200? And what advice would you give anyone like thinking of doing it or
Well,
signed up to do
well, first of all, I would say don't do the first strategy. Everything I did for this race, don't do it, and for any of these races, because obviously they're expensive. So you don't want to show up already at a disadvantage. I guess that's the big takeaway. Don't be me. But there's definitely a lot to learn from someone that does experience races the way I do, because if I can get them done with those kind of like, situations or, opportunities, however you want to talk about it, like that means, even if you put in good planning and all that, you're going to get it done. Right. But for this race, for sure, like I already planned it out. So like as soon as I'm fully healed, which I'm almost there, I'm like 85%, 90% healed. I'm definitely going to, since I'm local here, I'm going to be training once every, instead of going to Griffith Park, I'm actually going to start doing a weekend run every week. So do a 20-mile lab, and then just keep doing that all year long. So I want to do that so I can get very comfortable, and I feel like that could be an advantage, that I can probably speak for next time
it? Yeah,
around.
you're local.
And if I put in the work and I end up dominating these, 2.0, 3.0 to the point where I'm very comfortable, navigating those downhills, because that's really my opportunity. Um, I feel like I can definitely do a better job next time, at least beating my time. I do know that for a fact that you're gonna get more runners. I feel like more people are gonna sign up for this race. I feel like more people
More
want
competitive.
want to run in the IE, especially if we keep promoting the race, right? That's our intention. So definitely, man, like if we can get 20, 30 runners next year, man, I can definitely see this, that it's gonna be a very competitive year. My end goal, and I can speak on Bigfoot, like I dropped my time by 16 hours
Oh wow.
the first time to the
So the
second
first time you
time,
did it?
and it definitely changes the whole perspective of a race, because like I remember what I tell people is I felt like I ended up running Bigfoot in two different times. Like times, like the first time I did Bigfoot, there were parts of the sections, there were parts
You
of
were
the
at
race
night and day.
day. So it
Right.
definitely, like, I was like, I don't remember seeing this part, because it was dark, right? So it's like it's pretty cool to have that perspective. Obviously, for this race, like if I can drop down my time, by even 10 hours, to me that's a win already, right?
Yes.
It just means that sleep less, have more fuel. So I would definitely, for anyone doing this race, man, pack up your car, get so much carbs, like just be ready to use the fuel. You can never not have, not have enough fuel, and I think carbs is like your best bet, right? Whether that's goo or whatever form you want to use. And then again, I'm someone that knows this, and obviously I didn't come prepared, but definitely eat food, man. Every 20 miler, eat something that's actual food. Like for me, like I'll bring burgers. I mean, I can camp here. I should have planned it, and I should have freaking been able to like make a quick burger or something, right? Something that can get me that fuel for me to like not constantly be in a deficit.
Depleted.
So yeah, I mean, I lost a lot of weight.
Yeah,
Lost a
probably.
lot of weight. I was out there. I was very uncomfortable, but I mean, at the end of the day, like I was still able to push. So I would definitely recommend that to people. Like, don't get comfortable with this race. It's not simple, um, but again, it's a 20-mile loop, so you just constantly gotta just think about that loop, getting that first loop out of the way, second, third, fourth. Don't overthink it, because at the end of the day, you're still gonna be uncomfortable whether you like it or not. Like,
Yeah, there's no way around
it's a
that.
200 miler. Everyone's going through the same struggle. Like, you're not alone. So whether it's 10 runners, 20, 30, 40, like at the end of the day, like just know like it's okay to be uncomfortable. Um, and then obviously like take advantage of the aid stations, man. Like I did with Rocky. Like I was not afraid to tell him, because in the beginning when I started doing these ultras, like I was scared to tell somebody,
As for stuff.
like, can I get an extra peanut butter sandwich? Can you make me an extra burger? It got to a point now where like, man, I'll be like, can I get 3 burgers? Like they're like, what? Can you eat that much? And I'm like, yeah, trust me, like I can eat it. Like I need it. Like I'm not gonna finish the next 20 miles without this. And obviously they'll do it for you. Obviously in a good manner, but I was in the beginning, like I said, I was very scared to grab stuff from an aid station. And with Rocky, I was like, Rocky, like, what do you have, man? Like, dude, I'm always happy to see you. Like, even he can tell you about that. He's
Yeah.
like, gee, I'm not sure if I was the happiest person to be there, man. I'm like, someone's
Yeah,
gonna
people love getting there.
take care of me right now. And that was the cool thing about this race, man.
And that's cool to hear because that was the first time we had the aid station there, because before it was a 10-mile loop. So we just had the one over here in the beginning. And then anybody watching, if you want to get involved, we can always use volunteers, because these races, without the proper support, it's just not happening. But we did have a lot of people on the other station on mile 8 switching back and forth, so it's hard to get the consistency of like the personality or whatever. But everybody did speak very well of all the 8 stations. But obviously Rocky was camping since freaking Wednesday through Sunday there. Then Lorena showed up and other people came and helped. So that's what we were aiming for. We had this awesome spot in Bernasconi, and we're like, is this gonna be a spot? Me and Rocky talked about it. Is this gonna be a spot that people are gonna look forward to getting there? Because first of all, you're gonna get some actual food, some supplies, things that you
Yeah.
need, and you're gonna stare down at the dam that you need to get to Terry Peak, and now you're done with another loop, or maybe that's your last loop. But that was definitely like again pretty cool to hear that what we thought it was gonna be, it became for many people, and we just want to continue to build on that. And just again, freaking proud of him. I don't think people are connecting with us by mistake. It's just for a reason, to show others that was people are capable. Not only I mentioned before that nobody has done trail races as far as I can talking to the lake staff. Trail races at the lake, I'm pretty sure we're the only ones that ever done them there. I guess that's not a place that the people can think of like when it thinks ultra running, especially. Um, so clearly, and as long as that's been around, and natives used to live there, there's probably people buried all over the freaking place. I know for a fact when I'm out there by myself at night, I know I'm not alone, man. There's definitely not dark, but there's definitely spirits. There's presence there,
Yeah.
for sure when you're out there. So, but the fact of the thing is like, who has run 200 miles or 100 or all of that around? There's not that many people, and he can say that himself and the other three are the only ones that have ever run 200 miles on that particular around the lake, basically. So we want to continue to, get more people to do it. Um, but hopefully from this, some of what he shared about his journey into the 200 specifically, there's no one right way or wrong way to do it. Some people are very methodical. They do everything like by the book and everything. And if that works for you, awesome. And that's probably I would even like himself myself. We're probably encouraged to do a little more than that. But
Yeah.
also, but also, don't let your race to be like bad or ruined it because something of your so perfect plan didn't go accordingly.
Yeah.
So it's like a mixture of that, like having a plan, putting in the training because you will have to train to finish our races, but also go with the punches too. Like if something is not ideal, and you're gonna experience that in ultra running, you're gonna experience weather changes. We can't predict that. If we were to get our race like a 2 day raining, I would freaking suck. It will be way different too. And we had a
Yeah.
couple of April races where we rained. So, but with that said, it's like hopefully you take something out of the conversation with Jimmy, and if you like he said he's gonna be running here more. That's another thing that we've been trying to do. He's like the ultimate example of like the locals that can actually run in their own backyard. And hopefully we get more local people in Moreno Valley, Paris, any of the Inland Empire to come out. And my vision, my goal has always been to have people at the lake every weekend doing the loop. Um, and unfortunately, a lot of people did do run it. And we do have our local running clubs that are setting up runs all the time. But many times, a lot of people want to stick to just the dam or just the flats. Not a lot of people go into the climbs, but I just a couple of weeks ago, our local club did have a run there. The Riverside Trail Runners, they had a run there, and they did do the 10-mile loop. So I think more often we will have a lot of official runs, but you don't have to wait for an official run. If you hit me up and I'm around, or any of my friends are around, they're gonna be running there if you're able to. Now, I guess I will end with asking you, what about the people that are not local? If they live in Florida or another state, how would you suggest that they train for like the course? I did tell some of them that had done a lot of what you've done about our the type of terrain and that, especially the downhills. And of course, the first reaction is like, oh yeah, I done this crazy ass races. But what would you say? I mean, you can't necessarily duplicate, but how can they train or substitute it, or to prepare for this for the downhills? What would you say?
Well, like many of us, right? We have friends from other parts of the world. We have friends all over, right? And everybody likes to say, well, California, you guys have good weather, you guys have those heats in the summer. That's an advantage, right?
Mm.
But then, I can always tell people, well, living in Colorado doesn't necessarily mean I'm a better runner, right? It just means I live in higher altitude. I have an advantage that doesn't really help me sometimes in hotter terrains, right? So, what I would suggest for any runner out there in any part of the states, any part of the world, is just, you know, go find the most challenging place in your area, whether that's 30 minutes away, whether that's an hour away, right? And then just dominate that place. So, for example, for me, it was always Griffith Park. Like, if you told me, like, what has allowed you to finish these races, it was really Griffith Park, because, right, it's about close to 2,000 feet of elevation, right? Depending where you start. And you can get pretty much good enough, like, altitude out there, elevation gains and stuff. So, I mean, if you look at LA, I can always go to Malibu. I can always go to like other parts of Ventura County. I can go anywhere, right? But we have like a lot of our partners, right? They run, Mount Baldy or whatever, right? So there's always somewhere where it's challenging, and that's really your best bet, because at the end of the day, it's not so much the technicality, like whether, like, for us in this race, Machete 200, right? Like those down steeps, they're pretty steep, but even if you train elevation and you just come down your normal trail, like you're getting that you're getting that knowledge, that experience, you're getting that memory. So I would just suggest that's your best way. Like, at the end of the day, like, if we sign up for a race in Florida or we do anything else, it's the same way, right? It's not our local environment, but we can either use the sauna, whatever it takes for us to kind of get to
Kind of
that.
mimic some of the,
Exactly. It's
running down hills.
perfect. That's actually the best word to use.
Yeah.
Mimic the environment, or at least mimic the strategies that you would use if you were actually here training for that specific race. Um, that'd be the best advice I can give. So
And well, thanks for joining us, guys. We have a few other people that we're trying to bring on. I believe the next up, if we could get together with Ramiro, who won the 200, and then we had Juan, who won the 100 miler. I was trying to get them together because they kind of live around the same area, but maybe we'll just get them separately. I know that this week coming up, some of us, some of our friends, we will be at Anza Borrego, 50 miler, and the Friday night, I think I'll have something set up with Rocky and Lorena. They both have amazing stories themselves. Um, so we're just gonna continue to do this. Like I said, it's not scripted. Uh, it's just like just sitting in the living room talking to someone, getting to know them a little more. Uh, but my main goal was that to highlight people that are like you might not know about them yet, and it doesn't matter if you ever get to if none of us ever get to the level of a David Goggins or whatever. But I can assure you that even in your own personal life, those that know him and those that know each of the other people that you'll see here, they'll get inspired by like just people. They're doing incredible things, and yeah, his freaking collection of buckles is pretty fucking incredible. And I wouldn't even say jealous, man, because honestly, I mean, you how old are you right now?
I am 34.
34. I'm 46. And for ultras, there's a lot of people in their freaking late 40s, 50s, 60s. I see a bunch, or even in their 60s, 70s, still doing them. But I know damn well from what I done where, like, just, it's just not in me anymore to, like, even chase some of those things because it's fucking hard, man. Like, right now, my goal is actually to earn my, so this is for the buckle he earned for the 200 miler. Our 100 miler is basically the buckle, but it's not with the gold trim or none of that. I love my buckles, man. I put a lot of thought into it, a lot of work into it, and I want to earn the 100 miler. And even when I said it, man, I kind of regret it a little bit because it's like, fuck, that's how hard that race is. Because even for me to go out and on my own, maybe with some of my friends, just get a campground, just not the main big campground, but just the little ones, and run around and do my own 100 miler. I have to do it within the same 48-hour limit time, and but it's like sort of like how they did that to 200, where they didn't have a bunch of people. It was just a different thing, and that's gonna have to be for me. But like I said, I mean, man, that fucking collection is like not it's not just the hardware, but it's like what each race represented, what he went through to earn it. But it's just freaking impressive collection, and again, uh, thank you for having this. We're gonna sign off.
Pleasure.
Share the video. Subscribe, like all the good stuff. How do you end this damn thing? I can't even see a thing in my glasses, bro. Oh, there you go. Are you sure you want to do stuff?